There you go. It's live now.
That's it.
Welcome to Vlog Thursday, Internet Funny number 420.
Bruh.
I forgot it. I forgot until I remembered earlier when we brought it up, and I'm like, oh, that's right. This is 420, and we didn't do anything particularly special.
I think the problem with 420 is you usually forget about it as you get closer to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's natural. That's exactly what's supposed to happen.
I know. If things would have, like, I was busy with another meeting, if I would have been able to time things right, I would have started it at 420. So,
speaking of meetings, is there anything that we can learn about that tonight? Or is that completely...
yeah, that's wrapped up in NDAs. But, well, I mean, I can say positive things, but I'll say them later. But, yeah, meetings went well today. There's actually several meetings that went well. I signed more NDAs today, so that'll be stuff that there will be stuff I can talk about because I always will, but today's not. So you brought it up after we pressed live, or I would have told you we can't talk about any of it.
I look forward to not learning any more of it right now, but maybe later.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had a lot of good stuff happening this week. Let's quickly talk about an event that's coming up that came from a really quick conversation and is going to be very beneficial to the MSP community. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. I'm dragging Windows.
I am doing that too. And I've got two screens, so it's a very difficult process.
I know. I have one of those really wide screens, so I have to drag it all the way from over here. There's a lot of pixels that it has to cross.
It's like driving across town. I don't need that. Well, Community Appreciation Day. Let me just bring that up really quickly for everybody. We are celebrating community within the MSP and IT spaces on January 27th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. It's weird to say Pacific when you're on the East Coast. We're just going to say it 1 p.m. Eastern. Oh, that feels so much better.
Yes.
And we wanted to invite everyone to come along. You can, wrong banner. That's messed the preview. You can register for MSP Community Appreciation Day at lawrence.video/MSP-CAD because I love acronyms. I couldn't help that at all. And it's a great 2-hour event of just promoting community and thanking a lot of the people that help us do what we do. That's about it.
Yeah, join us there. We got all my friends, Ninja One, 45 Drives. Matter of fact, I was actually watching a 45 Drives video they posted yesterday just before I jumped on the live stream here. So definitely go check out all that fun stuff we're doing with everybody.
Tons of fun stuff. There's going to be giveaways from some of the companies that you just mentioned. I don't want to give too much of it away. I'm not under an NDA. I just like suspense. So we're just going to take the banner down. But folks, seriously, register. It's going to be a great 2 hours next Monday.
Yeah. Go ahead. You have permission. You can drop that in the link in the links on there.
Yeah.
So just click it.
I'll get that down there in a second.
Yeah.
Do that. But it's going to be a great time. But more importantly, what's going on? What's going on with hardware? I feel like we've been dealing with gear all week, and I want to hear about some of what you've been doing.
So I should plug in the Raspberry Pi. I just realized, so give me a second because I plugged in both boxes and I realized both boxes I plugged in have Linux on them. Just command line, no UE, no GUI. So let me plug in the Raspberry Pi because it'll make this way cooler. So let me grab that real quick.
What kind of Pi is it? Is it a 5?
Of course it's a 5 from our friends at Micro Center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's one you picked up at Micro Center. Nice. I have to get over there hopefully this weekend. Near the one over here. I got to upgrade the old Pi 4. It's got a Hemi. Let me get this link for everyone really quickly. Actually, I think that's the Pi that I owe you a 3D printed case for as well.
No.
No?
Not this one.
There we go. There's the link, everybody. Was that powering on?
Almost.
I'm going to just start showing stuff at my desk. I don't have it anymore. That terrible, terrible, super cheap RAID card thing that I came up with over the last weekend that I think almost caught fire on my desk. I'd like to show that at some point.
All right.
Here we go.
I should be prepared for these things. It's not like the first live stream I've ever done.
It's the 420th. That's the problem.
There is the problem.
So you were bringing the Pi up. What were you bringing the Pi up for?
You'll see. I should probably plug a network cable into it. Wait, it has Wi-Fi? Do I have Wi-Fi?
Oh, you've got the KVM. Nice.
Oh, this is why it's not working. Hold on.
Does the super cheap RAID card have blazing performance? Hold on a second. I think I have a photo of it while you're doing that, Tom. Let me see if I can bring this thing up. It's made people laugh quite a bit today. Where is my amazing solution for data storage? Today's lesson is always be prepared.
I know Tom was not prepared. He's trying to set it to the United States. There we go. Okay. That should make the Wi-Fi work. Or not.
You might want to turn it off and turn it back on again.
No, he said he's working now. Now it has internet. Ah, there we go.
All right, so I'm going to have to guess this has something to do with the KVM.
Yes, you're looking at the Jet KVM. If you didn't notice, it's in the top corner there. The Jet KVM project went from, Kickstarter pipe dream to actual thing that works, and that's pretty cool. I guess we can Google that.
Not only is it something that works, but it's been fun to see so many people receiving them this week in the mail.
Well, yeah, I mean the pre-demo worked, but it's not the same as when they get delivered. Now that they're actually getting delivered, that's what makes things really cool. Actually, we should go to this website. How does it look on a Raspberry Pi? Like I misspelled it.
Oh, Tom Lawrence. I know that guy.
I know this guy.
He's
turn
okay.
On camera? Why does it want to turn on my camera?
Well, it's probably the camera it thinks is attached to the Pi.
Yeah, sure. We'll say yes. And this is pretty smooth. The Raspberry Pi 5s are actually pretty fast. But what's also fast is this is the Jet KVM screen. The latency is low. The graphics are good. It's hard to tell that this is an IP KVM. It's so much more advanced than the Pi KVM and the Bly KVM that I reviewed before. So it's really slick seeing just how well these work. I think what really sells it to me, or what made these so good, is just the fact that these devices are next level in terms of how nice all the software works. How, if you let me see if I had the Bly KVM. Let me pull that one up just to show people. The
level of convenience is so high that I repeatedly hear people say they're simply going to make one of these a part of their toolkit. They're just going to go in the bag with them wherever they go. That to me says a lot. Just really quickly, I want Allison to see the amazing data storage device that I put together. That's just the total never ever do this. It's just what was on my desk. Look at the throughput on this is kilobytes per second. It's amazing. It's going to be revolutionary. It's going to be disruptive. And back to you, Tom.
Yeah, those are cool. I like I have one of those attached to the, what is that box? Zima board. I have one with the
I
think I got the same RAID controller you just showed.
Oh no. This is RAID asterisk, not actually RAID. It's just a SATA hub. That's it. But I'm going to put two of them onto a chassis with 10 drives.
Well, and that's what the one is on the Zima is. They're just SATA boards because you have to have direct access for ZFS, and sure, it has to work properly. So
yeah. I'll take a look at that tomorrow. I'll let you get back to this though. Looking at this KVM and just the crispness of it on screen and the response time's awesome.
Like if I plug something into this one is just not as responsive. Like this is okay with the overlay keyboard. The menus are okay. It's got WebRTC or MJPEG options in here, but what happens is this will eventually run out of memory, and I'll have to refresh. It'll crash the browser once in a while for whatever reason.
Are you saying it has just terrible memory management? Like there's no garbage collection going on here, and it just kind of peters out? The Sonic Points used to do that to me all the time years ago.
Yeah,
no, not
it's
cool.
Just kind of broken. The updates don't really update. A new version available. You can download using terminal. So check for update doesn't actually do anything.
Oh my gosh, check for update is like the security guard at a bank when there's a robbery. It happens, and the dude's like, "You just got robbed." I mean, that's literally what that message just said to you. That was amazing.
Yeah. Where is the? Will it show up? I'm trying to get it to do the. I can't remember the buttons there. It's not working. Which one of these buttons? There we go. This one. So bootable USB drive. you have to first click this. Then we can connect. And then you got to, somewhere along the way here, previous. You select type, it brings you to the end, but then you got to go previous to build the image for the USB. And here's like, I have Proxmox or XCV, so it'll load things on here. But this won't actually work it. You then have to do this, abort, connect. Now that we switched it, now it'll work.
That's
like
too many
it's
steps.
A lot of weird quirkiness that they never got around to fixing this. Maybe they did because there says there's an update. Maybe there's more fixes for it.
With the ability for it to load an ISO, does this have the ability to say like load Ventoy and then get into an interface for that and have more choices?
Probably could, but what you could do like this one here. Well, let me switch to one I already have ISO on. So here it says virtual media.
Mm-hmm.
You can say the Jet KVM storage, and you just pick the media. There you go.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And now it will boot off either one of these, and I can reload something. Simple. Like you just, and if I want to add another ISO, upload a new image, and I click it and I upload an ISO. That's it. Like it fully works. So that's what made the Jet KVM so cool. Is it's not quirky and buggy. It just works. And
it's a solution to a problem. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Well, it works as advertised because it's not like the other one doesn't have those features. You just seen how like you go back and forth through a non-intuitive UI versus click here, go.
The features are there, but they're not in the form of a tool that allows you to get something done with a couple of clicks, which is really what you're going to pay for something like this. Question for you, what happens when you have multiple KVMs, say in your network at the house? Do you have a common interface to get to all of them? Is there any kind of communication between them for the sake of like ease? Not really, but what a couple of people are building, and this is interesting because the Pi KVM has a solution for this. Wendell and TechnoTim both did videos on this. And the Bly KVM had a kit, but I never got it, and it was available on Alibaba. Then it became not available or something. I don't know, something weird. I liked it in concept, and I'll show you what it looked like because they have it on their website still. Maybe they have it available now, but with how poorly this worked, wasn't really a fan. So this was the first iteration of the Bly KVM, and then we had. Oh, these are the ones that are powered by Raspberry Pis. I've been looking at these. Okay.
Yeah, I can send you one of them if you want to play with it.
I'd love to check it out. I'll put it in the LLM machine, see how it works.
Yeah, this is what. Come on, the website is equally unintuitive. Hold on, where's the one that I have? Is it missing?
Maybe it was discontinued and no longer listed.
It could be. It's error product. This is where it went. It's error.
That's awesome. They're running a WordPress site.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
WE includes.
Now you know the problem with some of the other companies. Now let's look up the Pi KVM because at least theirs is better. Pi KVM is definitely a better project. This is the new box for the Pi KVM.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you've got multiple connections right there.
Well, you have the Pi KVM, then you have this, and you can switch between them. This is what the Bly KVM offered as well, but you can see their website's now broken, and I only ever got the one device from Alibaba, but I never got the rest of it. But this is what the Pi KVM does, and if you go, you see that even on their website, they already instantly embedded Windows.
Yeah,
I like it. They have a buy it on here option. Yeah, buy a ready-made device. $300 for the Pi KVM.
Wow.
Versus
69?
Jet KVM is $69.
Yeah. And you can really see the experience is fairly seamless. It just works. And that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what people are probably looking for. And I think this would be great. And I'm going to do some testing with this because I'll find out. I want to buy, let's go to Amazon real quick.
Like you thinking about putting this like in front or I guess behind a traditional KVM?
Yes.
That's cool.
So what we do is find some relatively inexpensive KVM, like this Ugreen one, something reasonable. And this is 2 computers. Maybe we want more than that. But what's cool about the Pi KVM is people have been hacking at it because it's got a couple extra ports. The extra ports on it will allow you to do things like switch things. Now, of course, if we have a key combination that works with one of these, that would be interesting too. I just have to figure out which ones with the key combination. But some of these also support, like this has wired remote on there. If you can figure out how to wire it, there's an extra on the back. I think I got a picture of this.
Extra on the back. If it's using a Raspberry Pi, you've probably got a ton of GPIO pins you could work with as well.
No, with the Pi KVM, yes. With this.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so we're talking about Jet at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. With the Jet, they got this is an RJ11 port, and you just got to pin it out for.
It's like a phone cable, four pins or whatever.
Yep,
okay.
4 pins for a phone cable, but that can facilitate switching. By the way, someone already took this apart and wired it up to be PoE. It's not PoE; it's powered over USB-C. Someone already got theirs and hacked it.
Oh, I love it.
Let me find it because.
Hey, you should send them one of those like 300 PoE injectors you've got. Let them make some more.
Yeah, where's the person that made the PoE one?
Oh, Mini GP Racing's got a link for a KVM. Yeah, please put it into the forum. We'll check it out later.
Yeah. This is the extension port, though. They have a whole power control for this. These are extra extensions. This is on their site, so they have all the, and they tell you what they are. Ground, UART, RX, UART there.
Yeah, transmit, receive, power, ground. That's cool.
Yeah, so these are future stuff. I mean, it's kind of cool because we'll look at the docs on this. Look how nice all this looks. Like they document it. They tell you what they're building, what the future looks like.
I don't even care that's a render of a PCB. It looks really well designed when you look at that.
Here's a DC power control option.
You know, every time we have a conversation like this, my bank account goes down. I was looking at some, what is it for Home Assistant, the protocol that we use from Zigbee reset devices for some of the machines I have here at the house. But I have a funny feeling a KVM like this is probably going to be much more useful.
I like that you can SSH into this as well. What does this run on? I forgot what these are built with. Is it ESP32?
That wouldn't be surprising. That's a nice, stable platform. It's fairly power efficient.
Somewhere in here it tells you, I can't remember what it's built on.
I mean, ESP32s are just everywhere you look.
Yeah.
Like they're littering my desk right now. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
They're really cool though. Like I said, I'm really impressed with the Jet KVM. Like I'm impressed that they got it. Now the icing on the cake is something that I had posted about today. Let me find the link to this. Probably on Twitter. A promise they made that is if they reached a certain number and funding goal, they would release all the source code.
Oh.
And here's all the source code. That was a big hang up for people, as it should be. They're like, yeah, I want an open source KVM. They said, we'll give you the source code.
Oh, I'm going to poke around with this. I haven't looked at TypeScript in years. I used to do like Apple OS X widgets with TypeScript.
Yeah. I think a big piece of it is that they didn't copy whatever was going on in the market. Bly KVM, if I'm not mistaken, is forked off of the Pi KVM. Like it's just it was a company that said, hey, we can make some hardware that was cheaper. And Bly KVM, the reason for it is because Raspberry Pi 4s were so hard to get. And the original Pi KVMs were all based on 4s, and it was like unobtainium for a little while when they released it. Like, hey, here's a cool project. Also, here's a global event that will cause a supply chain shortage. That means you can never build this project. But by the way, the software is open source and free if you can get your hands on a Pi.
I had the cooler for this Pi 4 for like 6 months before I can get my hands on it a while back. Yeah, that was a real problem at the time.
Right. But what these people did was, I don't believe they copied any of this code. Like, I believe they sat down and said, let's write it from scratch with Go and implement it really well. And I think that's nice. Why it works so well is they just took the time to really build it and say, let's put some money behind this. And
you're not inheriting potential tech debt from an existing project. If you can start with a clean foundation and plan the functional requirements as you want them and bring it to fruition, you're going to have a very, very different outcome. That's an ideal way to do something. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those little things like that though. Is finding a top tier developer to put it together, because top tier developers are rarely the people who do this. Usually you have a technical person who knows a little bit about coding. Man, I'd love this Raspberry Pi to use its inputs to build a KVM. I think I can code that. I know enough to start.
Oh yeah. You know, just enough to be dangerous. And that's actually one of the fun things I love. Those are parts of my career that I miss. But yeah, this is interesting. And yes, that most KVMs, I think the ones that I used to have, you'd hit the control key on the left-hand side twice or something like that, and it would start scanning from one to the next. So if there's something similar like that, the Jet KVM could pick up, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and that would be ideal. So we have the virtual keyboard. And by the way, look how smooth all that comes up. I mean, that's just nice coding.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can do that, we can hit the scroll a couple times, whatever that is. Where is scroll on this?
The scroll lock, that's becoming a less and less used key.
Yes. Which is perfect for KVMs, bad for
everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's actually weird. You're looking at like a 60% layout or something, like a 70% layout on that keyboard, not even a full ANSI standard.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I guess that.
It is pretty cool, though. I got to ask, can we spend some time looking maybe at the past a little bit? Because the photos of that hard drive you took yesterday. Oh my gosh. You had me looking at some of the old kind of diagrams for looking at the different levels of resistance and like different components and stuff with the different colors and the stripes, because it's just gorgeous. I just loved looking at those earlier in the week.
Of the weirder things to come up. So this is my Google Photos. Here's a thing in my history. I'm going to click it because I'm curious, because remember we were talking about this? I don't know why this popped up in my history. So we're going to click it.
Is it a rack mount server?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a 4U. Wait, and I sent you the video today of me washing a laptop in a sink.
Yeah, this was from 10 years ago.
I mean, sometimes they get dusty.
Yeah. So Steve's like, I remember him saying, I want this case, but it's gross. And so he grabbed the power washer in front of the building and just cleaned it out.
Tom, I'm sorry. That's the most amateur water cooling job I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's in front of my old building. Okay.
Yeah, these drives are fantastic. Looking into the history of these drives, I was really surprised about some of the innovations they had at the time.
Yes.
Not to mention the lineage leading into Seagate, which is there's a mention of the dual actuator drives that this company did in like the mid 1980s. And they were ultimately acquired by Seagate. And you talked about the Mach 2 drives earlier in the week or late last week with your dual actuators. And it's kind of cool to see the lineage of something 30 years ago to today. And I feel like you see that in this photo. It's just cool.
Yeah, this is the Connor Cumulus CP30104. And actually, one of the things I pointed out to you, I mean, I haven't tested this drive, and I'm going to test it now because it's got me curious. I don't know what's on it. I don't know where I got this. This is something I found in the office, and it doesn't have a label on it, so I can't pinpoint where it was acquired from.
Do you have an IDE controller available?
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah, I got a USB IDE controller.
Because, okay, like an external drive thing, or we used
I used to do I used to do a lot of recovery for people.
Got it. Yeah, I'd be curious. I mean, whatever it is, it's a bit of a time capsule. I think that's the most interesting part about it. When you sent the photo, I was counting the pins. I was trying to figure if that was like a 50-pin SCSI or whatever it was, and it was fun to look at. And man, it's so different from some of the drives today.
It really is. Something I do. Let me swap over here.
Look at the comparison of a boot drive. It's like, come on.
No, I have something people might be interested in seeing. Is it this video? Here we go. This is a project I'm working on with my friend. This is we're repurposing a NetApp shelf to put more drives in it. Those are all those Seagate drives. This is where they're eventually going to live, is in this. I think it's a 60 drive unit.
Oof, that
and a cat.
I wasn't expecting the cat to be right there. The cat's an MCSE.
The fans started going loud, and
that's pretty. How much storage is in that chassis right now, you'd say?
What's that? I forget. I think this only has 200 or 300 terabytes in there so far, and it's got room for more.
Can I ask what it's going to be? Is it data storage for like databases or something that you can?
Oh no, this is going to be train videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be an awesome project to see come together then.
Yeah.
This is the footage of the space with the trains.
Yes.
I was like trying to figure out how to get in the car from New York to get up to Michigan to see this in person. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, you know, he lives right down the street from me, so we'll definitely, when you come up here, come over this way. I'll give you a tour.
By the way, it does have to be said, yeah, only 200 to 300 terabytes. No big deal.
Only.
Yeah, it's just a little something.
Yeah. I do like this, and it's funny because I put this picture was already shared in my YouTube feed. I thought people thought we'd get a kick out of it. I put the Amazon link in there. People are like, "Oh, I never thought to order, colored power cords." And they're not that they're actually the same price when you order them. They don't cost any more to get colored ones. And when I redo my rack, I am going to order colored ones as well because
it makes perfect sense. I mean, even if you're like looking at the power supplies, clearly he's got the blue cable in the primary, and like you've got 1 and 2. You know exactly what it is when you get to the wall. That's awesome.
Yep.
Is he color coding the network cables too? I mean, there's like internal, external DMZ type stuff or whatever, because I'm seeing 4 or 5 colors there.
Yep.
Nice.
Why do Unraid transfers seem so slow? That is because they are slow. This is where, I mean, there are ways to configure Unraid now using ZFS. As I understand it, I've heard this speculatively that they offer ZFS, but not only offer it on more than one drive where you can build a pool. Someone told me you can do that. I know their previous documentation up until like a few weeks ago didn't say that was possible, but I think there's a new release that makes it possible. But most the Unraid systems can only go as fast if you're using their RAID as a single drive. Unraid does not work. It's not RAID, it's Unraid. So you're not actually getting performance out of it. It's a great storage system. It's just not a fast storage system. That's one of the reasons I'm so heavy on ZFS and SureNAS, is because of performance. Yeah, and as someone else points out here, there's ways to set up cache drives in Unraid as well. I don't use Unraid, so I'm certainly not the person to ask. That's why I say speculatively and allegedly and other words that you can say that Tom clearly doesn't know what he's talking about with Unraid, and I will accept that completely. I will bear that burden that I do not know how Unraid works. Is
not knowing how Unraid works just simply because you have another solution that works well? Because the only reason I'm asking is because I just got a brand new motherboard in today that's got 6 SATA ports, so I can connect it to one of those little arrays I got the week before. And if we want to mess around with it, we totally can, because I'm not doing anything with it immediately.
Yeah. ZFS is the way to go. TrueNAS is the way to go. So that's definitely I'm all in on TrueNAS. Not on
Then I think that'll be a project a couple weekends from now with this new board. Sweet.
Yeah. How did the PFSense replacement UniFi go? Any points? Any pain points? Any positives? It's not finished. Mostly because we got distracted with several other things, and we realized the over-ambitious nature to reconnect 38 VPNs and build all the firewall rules for there. We can do this. A few years later, maybe not today.
No, we can do this tomorrow. You append the tomorrow on.
This is no longer a today project. This is a hard project.
This is strategy.
Yeah, this leads to, I will briefly say, without violating any paper I signed today, that one of the things we ran into was the way the rules laid out. We think there's a better way UniFi can lay out the rules when you have that many firewall rules for 38 sites. Good news. The meeting I had today was that I can't give too many details of was letting people at UniFi know there's a way to do it, and they're extremely receptive to it. So they're, a lot of people notice UniFi has made a lot of changes, and this is now previous meetings I had like 6 months ago with UniFi, and a lot of these changes are coming there. So them reaching out and talking to people like myself and others in the community is really paying off. So yes, there's some pain points, but the new rule system makes it a lot easier. But one of them is just like to organize the rules. I really want them to have some separators like we have inside of pfSense to make it easier. The good news is that doesn't stop the rule creation. It just rule organization that we got stuck at.
Are rules in their system easily portable from one system to the next? I used to have trouble with that depending on Firewall.
Well, UniFi is from UniFi to UniFi, yes.
Okay.
From pfSense to pfSense, yes. From pfSense to UniFi, no.
No.
But matter of fact, that goes for there's not too many people that wrote any interpreters to go from one firewall platform to the other. There's very little of that out there.
Yeah, I played with something for Sonic Walls years ago and it never quite worked, but at least got some of the base rules, less complex stuff down when moving over to like a WatchGuard or something like that. But those were just bad choices. So we don't have to talk about those. I, on the other hand, cannot wait to start putting some more UniFi stuff in this network here. It's been great to do some of the upgrades, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of what's being released. Have they?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I think it depends which ones you're trying to buy. So let's look at their store and pull it up.
Yeah, while you're doing that, why don't you tell us what you're doing after tonight's stream? Because you've got another stream.
Oh, yeah. By the way, folks, even though the stream for me will end, what time is it?
7:30 right now. So
and what time does the next one start? 8:30?
8:30? Yep.
Okay. Me and Raid Hall are doing a stream together at 8:30. 8:30 my time. So after this stream ends, so we actually know when this will end, it just ends here and starts over there. So we've got a link for the next stream going in.
It's like a stream crawl. That works. We'll leave that up for a few minutes.
Yeah. This is one huge thing is now that ZFS expansion is now supported. That was a big flexibility reason people like the Unraid setup, that you can just add things at any time. And you couldn't do that with ZFS. It's much more rigid. VDEV expansion now is supported, so you can actually expand the system easier. But I mean, here's a U7 Pro for $189. That's not a bad price. Lowest price? There we go. Yeah, they still have. I've never tried this one. They call it the Swiss Army knife, which is just freaking weird to me. But it's $89 for an indoor-outdoor model.
What makes it a Swiss Army knife?
I don't know.
Does it come with a toothpick?
Marketing makes it that. That's really the answer.
Hey, don't blame marketing. Don't.
I'm blaming I'm not blaming good marketing. I'm blaming marketing. But I guess it's because it's versatile wall, ceiling, or pole.
So it basically works anywhere you need it to work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But here's for Wi-Fi 6, $129. That seems like a reasonable price. I don't think that sounds crazy expensive. I don't know. I guess how much is it? I don't know how much a TP-Link is. I don't buy consumer stuff that much.
The Cisco that I have, I guess it's really a Linksys, but it's that time when they were starting to put the Cisco label and everything was like $250 for it. It's like Wi-Fi 6. And I think I'd rather have the UniFi.
Yeah, I mean, this not the same category, but like these TP-Link systems are, here we go. I mean, I guess this is $80 for this model on sale, usually $99. So you're not talking substantially different. I also do not like the Omada stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of bugs in that stuff.
If the $60 or $70 difference is dependability and confidence in the product, I think it's worth it.
It's a $30 difference if you look at.
Oh, it's even less than. Okay, sorry, it's $129.
Yeah, $129 versus and the regular price happens to be on sale, but the regular price is $99. So for $30 difference, I'll go UniFi all day for better support, better software. But that's me. I mean, $30, man.
Well, $30 is $30, and I just spent $30 on a brand new motherboard, which is kind of a crazy price, but I'm happy to buy it. But if I'm going to buy something I want to be reliable and it's going to be it's going to have to support multiple people, I'm going to put the money into it.
Yeah,
it's an investment more than anything else.
Could you give some sauce on if they're making a U7 mesh, the tube? I love my U7 mesh, but thinking about the future, I don't know. I will be honest that I don't get many of the upcoming Wi-Fi devices, so to speak. I usually get them kind of as they come out, but the firewalls, because I've been working with them, I do know that there's some new firewalls coming out, but just new variations a little bit. And there's some new, but that's not too much of a secret if anyone's got Google and spends time on it. But Wi-Fi, I don't really have much insight into that. I don't know. I kind of hope they are coming out with maybe another one of those ones. I like the tube ones.
Oh, they're cool looking. And really quickly, because that's a very good point to make. Not an investment, it's an expenditure. I'm talking more of an investment into my peace of mind, not financial investment, but knowing that what's there, I'm going to feel really good about. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, someone Victoronics goes, what?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's no toothpick in here. There's no tweezers. This is not a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. So different there, but
Yeah,
you're happy with your Omada setup, works perfectly, though I wouldn't trust their routers, which is where 90% of my other CVEs are true. I don't know. Like my overall we've had just quirkiness and we quit offering consulting on them because it just got to be a headache. They were for my technicians and I didn't do any of it, but my techs did. And they were just like, we have to do stupid things to reset this. And we don't know why it doesn't work. We do know rebooting it randomly makes it work. We don't know why.
Well, I mean, that goes back to years ago when I was still a network admin and I used to have Sonic points all over the building I was in. And we ended up just ripping them out because they would fail on us all the time, put some Ruckus boxes in and the problem was gone. I wish I spent that little extra money in the beginning not to have those headaches.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's many hours wasted.
Jet KVM does not support audio. I wish some in-wall, I want to swap in-wall units, but they took away the extra ports. I know this is a dumb problem. So the original UniFi in-walls, which I still have one of them, and I don't even care about the Wi-Fi on it. The reason I'm using it is because of the extra ports. So let me, whoops.
How many extra ports are we talking about?
4 ports on it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, let me find the model. It is because I have the E7. Update. Why not? We're doing it live. New version. Oh, why is that one offline?
Oh,
That's
you know what?
weird.
Speaking of doing live, while you're doing that, I'm just going to ask the audience a question. What should I do with this orange Pi? It's been sitting on my desk for a week and a half. Give me some ideas in the comments, and maybe I'll put something together for the Lawrence Systems channel. It's literally been just staring at me saying, "Use me." Not yet.
Yeah, I don't think they make this one anymore. This is the in-wall HD, but it has a few extra ports on it, so just kind of novel.
Now, when you say a few extra ports, can you bring it up on screen so we could see it? Or are the ports
I'm
like
trying
on
to
the
find the pictures of the product? There we go. No, that's a lousy picture. Oh, there's a picture. It on the bottom. There's 4 ports, so it plugs into the back, and you got 4 more network ports on the bottom.
Oh, actually, almost a little bit obscured then too. So if you're not using them, they're not even terribly obvious. I like that.
Yeah. I happen to have this goes upstairs and has a printer plugged into it. That's all it's really doing. I probably could just remove it and plug the printer directly in. Well, no, one of my wife's laptops is hard lined into this as well, I think.
So then you got it.
So I got 2 ports on there.
Just don't do what it did with my.
Why am I thought I was sharing the screen.
Oh yeah, it's going to go in the collection with the other 4 or 5 Pis around the house that are running. So it's definitely going to get used. I just got to figure out what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how UniFi has the animations for some of their products like this. It's nice the way it helps make sense of things immediately. And yeah, having the ports on the bottom's handy. They're out of the way. Yeah, you don't want to get rid of that if it works.
Right. Well, that's the funny part. I don't know where did my UniFi controller go. This just went offline today. Last connected at January 23rd at 2:15. So 2:15 today, something happened.
Oh, sad trombone.
Yeah, it died. Don't know why.
So is it? It almost looks like a Flex Mini with a wireless antenna and a port that's going to come out of the wall. In a way, I'm a little surprised if they don't make this anymore. It just seems like a really handy device.
So here's the weird thing. It shows it powered up. It's not, the device is reachable, but it's still using wattage. So that's weird.
Is there some kind of network conflict?
1.28 watts. I don't know. We could always just power cycle this port. See if this makes it come back to life. Will it come back?
Actually, Mark makes a really good point in his comment. Now they're going to sell you a mini switch and an access point as separate devices, separate SKUs.
Yep. I like that. I like the way the UniFi works with it. A little power cycle button. I don't got to actually go touch anything. I can just do that.
You know, UniFi's got to make some more unique products. They've got the car charger and all these other things. I'd like to see a UniFi blender, an air fryer, UniFi vending machines in subway stations. There's so many things that they could be doing.
Yeah, I mean, look at all this. I swear when I always see this thumbnail, I think it's earbuds.
Oh, wow. The charging station does look like earbuds. No.
Yeah, I was like, oh, earbuds of some sort.
Do they have any products that compete with Sonos?
You
or
know,
do they just not want to?
Funny you ask. Where did that go? Hold on. Where's it at? They
We're
have
like
new...
Sonos, but we work.
No, they do. Where's that thing at?
Is it that power amp? Is that the one?
There we go.
I'm just assuming, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should I get them send us this?
It'd be cool to check out. Definitely.
That's actually some nice connectors on there.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
I mean, if you got, I already have a Sony. What's the Sony Pro line called?
No idea.
I don't know. I was using Pioneer Elites and I moved over to Sony. So I already have a really nice system. So I don't need this.
I got my sweet vintage Technic stereo back here that I've had for years.
Yeah.
It's still got the tape deck and everything, but it's freaking gorgeous. It's not going anywhere.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if we can get our hands on one of these, I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, I know there's a wiring problem because it does show 10 million. That's normal. It's not normal. It's normal for that unit because there's a bad wire somewhere. I need to repull that cable. Hey, look, it's alive again.
There you go.
It's still connected poorly, but it's alive at least.
It's been resuscitated.
Yeah, I'm gonna repull that cable because the cable seems to have a problem. I repunched it and it didn't fix it.
Well, are you doing some of that this weekend? I think you said.
Not that particular one, but yeah, we're gonna repunch it at this end in the server room. The one thing that inspired me to get UniFi in my network was the Flex Mini 2.5G. I really like the Flex Mini 2.5G. That's a really cool device.
That's the 5-port, right? I think it's 5 ports.
CephFS through Proxmox or TrueNAS. Well, CephFS doesn't run on TrueNAS, so you can't have TrueNAS on there. The problem with Ceph, and I actually thought this was funny because Brett from 45 Drives, who's been on a channel before, one of the things he mentions, and this is important, is you can't load Ceph a version different than you have with Proxmox. He actually commented on that because the current version of Ceph that I believe 45 Drives using, they're a version behind in Proxmox, and there are issues if you do that. Matter of fact, one of the things I like to point out, so when you upgrade things like in ZFS, it's just upgrade. I think nothing of it. It's no big deal. I upgrade versions all the time. Let's walk through going from Quincy to Reef, because yes, these are the names of the Ceph versions. And Ceph does stand for, is like short for cephalopod. This is why we have like Quincy and Reef. And anyways, I won't get into the nomenclature of their naming, but there are a series of how you prep each cluster node and how you set them and how you configure each thing before you update it. And that's why they have all these procedures. Good news is documentation. Bad news is this is not just press and upgrade. This is where people run into problems with Ceph. It's a beautiful file storage system. It's also a very complex one. So I've had people who skipped one of these steps. And when a Ceph cluster becomes a broken Ceph cluster, there's not a lot of easiness to getting that back to a coherent system. Ceph is one of those things, like, it's beautiful. It's complicated. Just make sure you have a backup of it in case your update goes wrong.
It's a house of cards, is what you're getting at.
House of cards.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when you're doing let's say you're doing a system update, it's Saturday morning, you do a little maintenance on the Homelab, apt-get update. Is that going to potentially update Ceph and lead to problems? Is Ceph the kind of thing almost like a database where you're like, no, it's staying fixed at this version until I'm ready to change it?
Yeah, Ceph doesn't. That's one of the reasons why they show it like this. You have to swap. Where was it? Right here. You're changing
you're changing the repo information even.
Right. You have to, so it does stay at there. So it doesn't, you're not as likely to do that.
Okay. There's a certain level of intention in what's going on here. You're going to be meeting specific steps to even have it here in the first place. So that kind of eliminates some of that risk, if you will.
Yeah. And unfortunately, what a lot of people do, as you know, as both of us and many of us on this.
As someone who's blown many things up knows, yes.
Yeah, as anyone knows, you're like, that looks hard, and I have many things to do in my sysadmin job. It will forever be at this version. It will be at this version until it's obsolete and I have to remove it. I'll build a completely new system and I'll just use whatever the latest version is then. So kind of come back to the question I have pulled up here, TrueNAS or Ceph. One of my reasons for liking TrueNAS is the fact that it's much, much simpler. And this is something that me and Radal, I'm going to hit them up with right away, because this goes back to a conversation me and you had about how Docker Swarm is an easier and simpler high availability Docker than building things with Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a wonderful system. You don't run Google without something that scales like Kubernetes. But you're not running Google. You probably want a Plex server, and you don't necessarily need a Kubernetes setup to do that. To learn Kubernetes is great. To get into that, I think, is wonderful. I'm not discouraging people learn that, especially if you plan to pursue a career in it. But when you think about what you're going to build upon, it's more towards what is the more user-friendly, and are you going to do this? The people at 45 Drives love Ceph. They do Ceph every day. They have contracts with lots of large companies that manage Ceph for them. So they're like trained on it. They're doing it. If your task is to only touch it every 6 months, you're going to have a bad time. Or even, longer periods, because it's not just hit upgrade. There's even, and I went through the Ceph training with 45 Drives. I know, like, they put the nodes in unknown states and have you troubleshoot them. I got stuck on a lot of that. And it's just, I've never done it.
It's a skill that you need to use on a regular basis to keep fresh in your mind, know how things are being updated, and otherwise you look for a simpler solution, especially if you've got multiple responsibilities throughout your workday.
Conceptually, the idea of a simple UI for Ceph is there. It's just there's so many moving parts. When you look at how complex the way Ceph works, that complexity is what lends it to the problems that come with it. And there's not a lot of encouragement to build a UI, because the people who are using it every day, they're like, well, of course, Tom, you just go sed-i/Quincy/Reef, we're going to swap it right here. And then you just got to make sure your OSDs are set to no out. Then you do the full upgrade and you restart the stuff. You got to set the target. You don't want to do one of the monitors. You got to reset the target. Like, why would I want a UI for this? Look how easy this is. Like, that's the problem why it's hard to get someone to write it. The people who actually do this all the time, this is how they do it.
It's like having 50 steps to make a bag of microwave popcorn.
Well, if you watch someone who's really good at something like command line Cisco, they never like the UI, and I don't blame them, because, well, not to mention the Cisco UI is much slower. If you're good at the command line Cisco, I don't care how fast you are on the mouse, the command line guy is going to beat your time. If you said, here's a switch config, I need all this set up, the person who knows command line Cisco will beat the person who knows the UI, because it's a more intuitive way to do it. So the people who admin Ceph are going, why would I want a UI for it? The people who do it once in a while would love a UI, or instead of a UI, a process that runs in the background that just does this all for you. That'd be great. Maybe it'll happen. I'm not saying it won't.
I'd like to see it. Hey, Raid Hal's here. He must be getting ready for a stream.
Yeah. This is true for most hyperconverged storage. Yes, hyperconverged storage is love and hate. Oh, yeah, limited rollback options. When you upgrade, this process is very detailed, so 0 steps are missed. Yes.
I love how every single of these comments makes me want to mess with Ceph more this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to. As soon as those other drives come in, I get that little array going, I'm going to have some fun with it. You have 12 SSDs to mess with.
No, even if you have dedicated Ceph, because I learned, not from Proxmox, I learned dedicated Ceph. I went through a training course for 2 days with 45 drives, like 2 full day trainings. And yeah, there's just a lot of stopping. Love me a nice button. Yeah, we have a special link, because I'm sending this crowd where we will start the live stream with you right after this one's over. Speaking of things of going and doing them in a sane and rational manner, this is a system and this is why I like XCP-ng. And one of the challenges that you have with any of these things is how we talk about updates. XCP-ng handles the updates very gracefully. And I figured, hey, there's updates that need to be loaded. Let's just show how they work through XCP-ng. So that's the terminal right now. And then I'll share the XCP-ng system. There's the patches. Here's the steps to patching XCP-ng. All right. Oh man, it was rough. It was rough.
I blinked. What happened?
I clicked OK too fast. It's gonna load all the patches now.
I'm telling you, I saw Zen Orchestra come up on the screen. I had a flashback to a DrupalCon where two guys were arguing between VMware and Zen at the time, and then by the time I snapped out of that little flashback, you were done.
Yeah,
that's how fast it was.
Hey, thank you very much for the gifted some memberships. Very appreciated.
Oh, we got the bearded IT dad here too.
Yes. Dakota's coming to Detroit at some point to hang out.
Oh.
Plans have been made. Things are in place.
Now, do you take people out for like well-known foods from Detroit when they visit you, like a coney dog or almond chicken from like a Chinese takeout place or something like that? Nice.
You know, I'm gonna give them the Detroit experience. We do have Detroit pizza here, so that's the thing. So there's Detroit pizza. I don't know if he's a coney dog person. We'll find out. We're definitely gonna hit some barbecue places. But one of the things that you can do is the American Coney experience. So there's the Lafayette and American Coney. Definitely worth talking about when you come. When you come to Detroit, Matt, we'll do the same thing for you.
Oh no, I've got a buddy of mine, Mike, here in New York, who's been preparing me, and he's telling me all the good spots to hit. So we're gonna have a map.
Yeah.
This is all right. So what do we have? All right. So wow, you've got a lot of VMs running on here.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna stop them all. Well, I can't stop them, reboot them here, and then go to the other screen and do the reboot. So we're gonna do this a little bit different because I could do it from the command line, but actually it's too many steps to reshare a command line here. So we're gonna switch to this is kind of we'll switch to another screen because you can control multiple Zen Orchestra instances. Can control many servers. So let's go ahead and say none host.
You've been having fun with Debian 12.
Oh, there's a lot of them in here.
Debian 12 it came out only a few weeks ago, right?
No, it's been out for a while.
So there was a new release of it, like a incremental or something in the past couple of weeks. Okay, I thought so.
So I can take these are the running ones on here. Whoops, I'm an idiot and click the wrong button. Choose the host, which is going to be. Hold on. Where'd the host go?
Oh, they're all coming through the AP that went down. I don't know.
No, I did. I just lost connection because they're not showing up here. Let me.
Interesting.
Okay, cool. The connection dropped earlier to that office. This is a VPN that goes to the Toledo office.
That's to one of the Dells you've got there, right?
Yeah, this is CNWR. Yeah, this is CNWR Lab. So this is Toledo, this is Southgate, and these two are here. So you can have one Zen Orchestra. This is actually to give people an idea of how this works. Proxmox has their new data center tool, which is the video I was watching from Brett Kelly over at 45 Drives. And he's like, you can get one single pane of glass of visibility. Well, this is how Zen Orchestra works. This is one single pane for servers that are over a VPN across different locations, two physical locations.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. There's a lot of management interfaces that would follow the same methodology.
Yeah. So let's go to none. We want to choose the pool of the R740 pool. I want power state running, and I'll stop all these. I could actually tell it to reboot and it'll do this for me, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit stop to make sure none of them have any errors. This one's going to give an error. It's going to give possibly a mount error because I did something stupid earlier. We'll see. Well, maybe not. No mount error. Do. It's just shutting down, taking a minute. I want to make sure this one's set to auto power on. It is. As soon as this one stops, I could force stop it, but
let it do its thing.
Yeah. What it does is there's a couple mounts that I have that it's looking for that it's like, hey, these aren't there. Let me close this. And I'm like, yeah, I know they're
going to time out on each one of them before it moves on.
Yeah. Because that server is that it's looking for is that server is it's in Toledo. The server is looking for is in Southgate, and there's not a VPN between the two right now.
It's hitting a dead end at the moment. That's all. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to messing with Zen too. I think last week I was showing you all the ISOs I had downloaded. I'm just going to sit here at the desk, take out one of these older machines, and start having fun.
I've lost patience. There. All right. Then we just go to the host. This guy exclamation point says reboot to apply the updates. No problem. Now, if these were an HA config, it would be totally different because you could just tell it to do a rolling update and it would actually move all the VMs and keep them alive, and then do an automatic updates on all of them and move all the VMs back where they need to be.
Oh, so it shifts them over to another host, maintains state, does what it needs to do, and brings them right back. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is XOA proxies are kind of cool. It's another cool feature they have. So I have one instance, but certain commands work better locally, like backup specifically. So you can actually deploy the proxies, and then your one single pane of glass controls a series of mini proxies that are on site at each of these locations. But yeah, it's just going to reboot the server and it'll be up and running with all the updates loaded and everything will auto restart.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a slick system.
How much memory do you have in this machine? The Stealth particularly.
Oh, I think it's 256 gigs.
That's a lot of memory.
Yeah. I can set you up. See, I'll build you a VPN. You can just log into these things. And
well, we got to set up a VPN because I want you to have access to some of the resources here at the house too. Some of those big sexy, the LLM. Everyone's got to be able to get access to that soon.
Nice. I do still have one system left running TrueNAS Core. I think it's right here. I keep it just so I can look at the menus more than anything else. Like when someone has a menu question about TrueNAS, because it looks so much different than it just has a different layout. So I keep it up that way I can walk someone through things if I need to. But yeah. Yeah, there's an rsync. There is an rsync CVE. Several of them. And it probably affects my TrueNAS core system, but rsync's not on, so it doesn't directly affect me. It's not a service I'm using. Matter of fact, the only thing this does, this server is just an extra copy of Tom's videos. That's all. Extra copy of things. That's all it does. Not much.
It's actually not even using much storage compared to everything you've got here either.
Nope. There's only 4.8 terabytes of videos in here. So it's really, I don't really have that many. I didn't save all my stuff for a while. I only saved like the finished product and some B-roll. So when you log into my main TrueNAS, this is my. So anything in production, like not being work, is on the Flashy pool. And it's called Flashy because the other one's called Rusty. So
spinning disks versus Flash.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So this 4.87 terabytes because the TrueNAS core system is in another location. Matter of fact, I'm going to make this prettier soon. But what I do is map where all my data is. So where is it? LTS video. I have what server it's on. So it's on TrueNAS Mini, Method, ZFS. Where else does it get a copy to? And it's just a mapping of where data lives and where it gets copied to each day.
You're going to have to come here for a weekend, I swear. We should just have a stream where it's nothing but looking at my Synology that's over my head right now and cringing. There's data from, and I'll say it, it's not a problem, data from past employers that were worried about losing data. I've got hundreds of hours of production video of like Norman Reedus and like Andrew WK hanging out in my old office, and it's all just like randomly on that drive, on the drives on that thing. We should take a look at it one day. There's real gems in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very detail oriented when it comes to all my backups. So these are all how they run. These are each one of these. it looks like there's more here than it's in my list because my list is broken into 3 parts because some things are pushing to another server on site and then it replicates again to another server off site. So I always got 2 copies on site, 1 copy off site of all my data.
I think that's your typical IT professional's route of way of doing things. I've got the Synology here. I've got the server back here. I've got another machine on the other side of the house. I've got sync thing running in what I would consider to be some of the crucial data to make sure it's in multiple places. Plus, it's being backed up to another drive anyway.
By the way, this system rebooted the Dell R740.
Mm-hmm. So it's back up and running fully?
Yeah.
Nice.
So if we go here, there's that 740, and there's things starting on it. So yeah, 256 gigs of RAM in this one. Pool. I'll restart people's VMs from them. I'm a nice guy. I like that someone very descriptively said this is for testing purposes.
That's good. I probably would just put don't touch. At least you get some context with testing purposes.
Keep Tom's Windows Lab up to date and keep that up to date.
I think you once told me you don't have any Windows machines around. Or do you mean like physical Windows machines?
No, I don't have any physical ones. These are
just the VMs and that's it.
If someone asks me like, hey, or I need to try this in Windows, this is the Windows machine I will try it in. Like if I have to test a VPN software or something like that, I have to test a Windows component. This is where that will get tested in the VMs.
Well, that's a good place because then you could shut it off and pretend it no longer exists.
Oh, good. I remember the password. Welcome.
I love the comments sometimes.
Yeah. Anyways, my boss saw your 40-minute video and I finally agreed to me to dump them in 2025 when our support contract up for renewal. We now need to find a new firewall. Depending on the features you need, especially because you're talking about end of 2025, Ubiquiti makes a pretty compelling firewall. I'm still a big pfSense fan because I love all the advanced features, but I will definitely say that Ubiquiti is caught up with a lot of the features. Someone I was talking to didn't realize that they could do like multi-site SD-WAN and all kinds of other stuff. I'm like, yeah, a lot of those features are now built into Ubiquiti. Pretty cool. Palo Alto, buy once, cry once. Yeah. Palo Alto is not bad, but man, they're expensive. Does Ubiquiti offer virtual IPs for WAN or LAN? I don't think they do it for LAN, but they do it for WAN. So I guess I would need a better question of what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to assign multiple IPs to a single LAN interface, I don't think that is supported. I also don't know what problem you're trying to solve by doing that. But sometimes that's my usual question is, what are you trying to solve? Because sometimes that gets you to a better answer. So we went to networks. As far as I know, yeah, there's only one address you can assign here. Now on WAN, you can add more than one address, but on LAN, you can only assign one. I don't see anything in here.
No, there's no way to expand to have multiple IPs listed per interface.
In pfSense, you do. You just add a virtual IP and attach it to an interface.
So you'd use multiple virtual IPs for routing purposes?
Yeah. Well, they support that. Yeah, you can have multiple WAN IP. That came, I think, version 7. Because if you go to, we'll just bring it up here, secondary WAN, manual. What they do now is you select static and you can assign the primary one and then you can assign each one after right here. I mean, that's obviously not a good public IP address, but you can add them like that and then have a range. You can actually do a range like this. So you can actually put in the CIDR notation. It'll add the whole a start and stop range. So you don't have to type it manually. But yeah, for WAN, you can do that now. As long as you're static. It doesn't work with DHCP. But most don't. Most time you can't add. Usually when you have static ones, you're doing it all static. There are exceptions to that, but yeah.
What would an exception be? Maybe if you had like well, no, it's WAN. Forget it. That was not a good question.
Looking for a reasonable 10G router with dual RAN failover. Yeah, you can do that. This is some. I mean, yes, you can do it with pfSense. That's an easy one. pfSense is easy, but if you go, UI does have available options for that. They're just not cheap. So if we look at the, if you're going to UniFi route, this model supports it. So 12.5 gig routing, it's $2K per device. So a pair of them will cost you $4,000, but it does provide high availability. So, so does the Pro Max. How fast is this one?
5.
Yeah, 5 gig. Well, that's if you have IDS turned on. So it comes down to if you need IDS, but for a pair of $600 a piece, that's not a bad price. But the Netgate ones, we'll pull them up too. Netgate makes 8,200, $1,395 a piece. I think you can buy these as a pair. I think they have an option for that. Maybe not. Is there a SKU for it? No. Oh, click here. Yeah, they just tell you it's supported on all. It's supported on all the models. Just buy 2 of them. Usually they had a pull down where they gave you a combo price, but it wasn't really a deal.
Would you get a discount, or would it just be the price times 2?
It was the price times 2. They just had them as one of the. It was like a product, but it was the product because they don't pre-configure them like that.
I don't. In my head, I'm just imagining like a marketing person that gave me like, this isn't Twix. They don't come in pairs. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Oh, okay. That can get costly though after a while with these.
Yeah. Should I use DNS blocklist and PF blocker if I use Quad 9? Yeah, it's probably redundant. It's hard to say. Maybe you have something in your block list they don't. And if you listen to that conversation with Quad 9, they don't make determinations on ad blocking. They make threat blocking. Occasionally, as he said, some ad campaigns are
there's an overlap, but
there's an overlap.
That's not going to happen as much. I mean, as a former ad trafficker, You're not going to see that. Having both makes sense. I've got my Pi hole going and resolving at 9999 right now for the sake of having the redundancy, because you want that little bit of overlap.
What are your thoughts on automated updates or automation tool? I generally, because one, there's not a lot of updates for XCP-NG. They're prescribed. If they have them, they have like a patch cycle that happens once a month. And because it's your it's your hypervisor and infrastructure, I prefer to patch them manually because I don't think it's a big deal.
What I like to look. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say also you can, because if you have a bunch of hosts, you patch on a pool level, not a host level. So if you have a bunch of hosts joined to a pool, like we have a client that we're going to have to load some updates for because these updates just came out today. We'll schedule it for them because we do want to reboot the system. We would want to monitor it to make sure it all goes well. And we'll hit rolling updates. I think they have 9 hosts. So it'll roll through all 9 hosts and then we restart the system and call it great.
Just a personal practice, I try not to automate things that I would consider to be the start of authority for something.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to look at that.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. So I guess what I'm asking is if a specific WAN IP can be only forwarded to an errand IP. I don't understand. Like, as far as I know, you could forward ports on it, or are you trying to pass the IP through? That's a different ask that I don't think they support.
It's like a one-to-one NAT. Is that what I'm seeing here in the question?
Yeah, that's why. Is it a one-to-one NAT? I don't know if they have just a flat one-to-one NAT option. I'll have to look because that's why I've been playing that today. That's one of my things I was doing today is playing with all the new firewall rules because let me show you what they look like. I don't have any of them really set up in here. But they've changed the way the whole rule system works. There we go. So they have all these policies, and then you can click on any of the policies to narrow down which policies are which. Like these policies are related to this. I kind of like the grid system they have here.
Yeah, it's a matrix. I think it would take a few minutes to wrap my head around by looking at it, but at a glance, it probably does make a whole lot of sense. It feels like a shared responsibility matrix kind of graphic.
Yeah, I agree with that. like here's a extra policy or source I created called test. Then I can assign networks. So if I go to create a new network, you have internal DMZ or test. Now all the policies are going to follow when I build this network, that test. And then all the other adapters I've applied to that in the zones. I'm going to go back over.
It's inheritance, just like you would have in like Active Directory or something like that.
Right. So this test now has inherited all the different, all the different ones that are under this. And then any policy I write under this,
it's going to cascade down to it essentially.
Yep. Then I can create the policy. What is the source zone test? Am I making a device policy, IP, MAC address?
Oh, that's cool.
By the way, by device, like you can just pick the name of the device, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh, it's oh, I forgot how big your TV was.
Yeah. But yeah, this allows you to go ahead and say, all right, these are the devices, save, make the rules, or build objects. Then you have the whole object, object port. So you can do that. Objects are like aliases.
Is there anything with quality of service on here? Like if I were to say want to throttle a family member's machine that streams a lot or something like that? So by MAC address, it would be the easiest way to target that person.
Yeah, it does support that.
Oh, cool.
Once again, device, select.
Save. My mom's always seeding ISOs, and it's really messing up my bandwidth, so got to keep it in check.
Yep. And then we can say we're going to upload and download bandwidth limits of.
Oh, nice.
Kilobit, man. There we go.
Oh, she's going back to dial-up speeds. Sorry, Ma.
But you can say,
that's great.
But then you can specify the times. Only times I care about. I don't care what you do when I'm done.
But that's great for even metering traffic in the household for like students and stuff like that. That's so many ideas here at the house even. That's awesome.
Right. And this is the thing. So this works very, very different than the way you do it in pfSense. It's dramatically different because if you go to my pfSense, for example, it's not complicated to Tom because Tom knows it. But if you go to I would build limiters based on IP that allow specific traffic. It's not as easy as just picking the device. You got to first know the device, statically assign the IP address to the device, which by the way, I do. So if we go over here to my DHCP server and we go over here to Tom, all my devices are in a nice organized order. I reserve everything.
Oh, DHCP scope. If you have a scope, you just reserve, so you don't worry about it. But goodness, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the old SuperStack 3 UIs from like 3Com from 25 years ago.
Oh yeah. It's a very not modern UI, but it's also kind of cool because you do so many things with it.
Yeah. You don't run in a local authentication service or anything, right?
No,
do you? No. Okay.
At this point, seeing CE has not gotten an update in a while. Would it be good investment to get PSS Plus until UniFi is basically one-to-one with configurability? That depends. So the problem is people are used to projects just getting constant updates. What they're not really doing right now with pfSense CE is adding new features. They are, and this is a feature in pfSense. Let me pull it up. They are patching it. So if we go to system patches, this is the same, and this is the plus version, as you can see at the top, but this works the same in both. These are patches for pfSense. They're patching it. These are how the patches come through. So
what you're saying is
it's not getting feature updates.
It's feature complete.
but it's, yeah, well, some people may want more features added, but it appears that Netgate has decided for now they're not going to add those new features. I don't know when they're releasing it, but it has been over a year since they do that. They've added updates for pfSense Plus, but they have not added those. But I don't have a problem with pfSense Plus. I think it works well. If you're running Netgate hardware, it's free. If you're not running Netgate hardware, it's like $120 a year.
$10 a month.
Yeah, $10 a month. It's not crazy.
It looks actually, if you look here, there's a comment that just came in from Disarray saying that there were CE patches recently.
Yeah, it did. There was even some more patches recently. The code base is so similar. There's feature differences, but the code base is so much the same that the patches come out for both at the same time and for the same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
There's rarely a reason, unless it's for
an advanced feature in the Plus version,
specific feature that only is in the pfSense Plus version. But yeah. Plug in new zone-based firewalls in UniFi. When you add too many zones, the matrix overview does not scale with those and disappear on the right side. Oh, that's interesting.
They need to add a horizontal scroll CSS rule so they get the little bar back and forth.
Yeah. Well, that's among the suggestions I had for them is just so people who have large scale policies that it doesn't seem if you have large scale policies, they're harder managing UniFi. So that's a challenge. If you have a ton of rules, it's going to be a lot more work in UniFi compared to pfSense. So that's why it's hard for me to get rid of pfSense, because I have some sites that are just not going to match up for probably 6 more months to a year or longer before UniFi catches up with it.
You wait for parity to exist and then you make the switch.
I really don't know. So the Rail Enterprise with Ansible Lighthouse, I've known people who told me about it. I've never used it myself. I don't know how different it is. So I can't really answer that. I don't know. The person who to ask would be Jeff Geerling, because he's worked in those ecosystems much more than me. You tried rolling updates on your production pool. We found our Windows servers had hung, needed forced reboots. Interesting. Matter of fact, if people paying attention to the system that hung was this one, and it's running Linux. So this system hung. What is this running? Yeah, it's running Debian 12. But the Windows servers, they stop and start just fine. Oddly.
That's weird. I would expect a service to hang on Windows well before anything in Linux.
Yeah, well, this is the server one. What is this running? Server 2022. But yeah, this one.
You know what? I've never seen Windows Server 2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know who set this up, so I don't even know the password to it.
Try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd be terrible if it happened.
It's a lab system, so.
Whoa, what's up with the refresh on that? Or is that just like VNC?
Yeah, it's a slow VNC. Yeah. It's also, you know what? I bet we are dropping connections because they're running backups. I'm on a shared bandwidth for something else. So yeah, the CNWR lab. I have no idea what they set the password to for the lab system. Nope.
I was hoping it was login. I had the best joke queued up. It's just going to fall flat now. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. For testing purposes, added AD services, added Hyper-V. And that's the virtualization not fully supported, maybe unstable. Yes, that's true.
Hey, Tom, do you ever do anything with Alpine Linux?
No, I should play with it some.
I threw it on a machine here the other night, figuring I was just going to use it as a Docker host, and I felt like a really good reason to mess with it. It was super quick install. I loaded it into memory, went through the setup, had it running in like 10 minutes or something like that. A little bit of a learning curve from getting away from Debian a little bit, but it was pretty sweet. I'm gonna mess with it a little bit more.
Oh, you'll get a copyright and trademark notice because when they do their survey, if you look, it actually is asking you to fill out a survey. They do their annual pfSense survey. So it just brings up the copyright notice that you click okay to if you haven't logged in pfSense. It's part of update. It's part of the package checking, which some people get mad about, the fact that pfSense checks for updates. I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't seem horrific. But if I'm not mistaken, if you go under advanced, you can tell it not to check the updates. You could even block NetGate's servers if you wanted. You could just sinkhole where the updates come from for anyone. Just, it's weird when people say, like, oh, I don't like that it reaches out. Someone's complaining about UniFi that. I'm like, well, UniFi checks to see if there's a new version. Oh, I don't want it phone at home. Okay, then block it. But you're going to have to manually figure out when there's a new version.
It's also a device that literally goes out on the internet to do every single other thing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any opinions on Untangle since Arista bought it? Yeah, my opinion is pretty much no. They just kind of abandoned the product. I used to like it, but yes.
Actually, I haven't heard you mention that name in some time.
I know I don't think I've touched them. All of our subscriptions for them have expired, and we've just kind of retired them. We did just kind of.
There hasn't been any content since I've been working with you for Untangle,
and there won't be. Yeah. I think I deleted my Untangle. I don't even have an instance of it anymore. I let my lapse. I had the reseller license because we were reselling it, and so the reseller got me a bunch of features that I could test, but I feel like it just stagnated. I don't think it's had an update in a year either. Arista bought it. It was a popular product, and Arista just said, we bought this now. Why? You just quit doing anything with it. Because I don't know what they're moving people to, because Arista doesn't have a play for what Untangle used to be.
So there wasn't there was not a situation of competition where they were trying to knock them out of the market or anything.
Yeah. Like Arista doesn't have an offering. Everyone's like, oh, cool. Arista's getting into the.
Are they going to assume Untangle into like their ecosystem in some way that we're just not aware of yet? There's got to be some reason for an acquisition like that.
It's a weird acquisition. Like they bought it and they killed they used to have a free home user version and they just killed it.
I mean, did someone go to a conference, go, dude, I'm buying you, like I'm buying your company, and then that was it? I mean, there's got to be more logic to that.
Yeah. And it's just like, they just bought it and then that was it. I don't even think there's been any notices, blog post updates. It's just kind of stopped.
Oh, I hate when that
It's
happens.
a weird thing because like Arista does not have a product in this price range because these were good, well-priced products. They had some licensing fees. They were not cheap, but for the features at the time of all the filtering and all the kind of, I used to love the novel features of them, but yeah, they just decided we're not going to do any of that no more. And so this just kind of, we don't even hear from the salespeople. Like no one questioned me when I canceled my reseller, but look at the way the dashboard worked. Oh. They were really ahead of their time in terms of you could apply templates to all of them. When you went to the dashboard, it even had the geolocation of all your clients tied to it. Wow. Like it was really nice, but that was just where it all stopped. Like when's the last blog post? I guess
they are bringing swag to enterprise campus networking.
Yeah. So it's all like, these are just Arista ones. This has nothing to do, like this is the Arista blog. I'm at the top. We went to the Arista blog. This is not the.
They've just absorbed the other company and it has disappeared.
Yeah. Right now I'm at the, the Untangle website. This is Untangle. All they did was flip the logo. It used to say Untangle. This is the same website. Because this doesn't take you to the Arista. This takes you to the Untangle. This is the login, just was swapped logo for Untangle.
That's interesting. You think they would have had like a sunsetting notice or just something letting people know what was going on?
Stopped.
They're killing me with the suspense. Please, people, let us know what's going on.
Yeah, but why did Arista buy it? Like they just bought it and killed it, but they didn't kill it to replace the product. Or they just want the list of customers? I don't know.
That's like McDonald's buying Arby's and just being like, continue being Arby's.
Do you think self-hosting will grow into a more popular pursuit in the future? Oh yeah, definitely. People are really getting, I would say we're at like the hyper growth of it. You look at the Reddits and forums that are dedicated to self-hosting, YouTubers to talk about self-hosting.
It's a hockey stick that we're seeing right now.
We're at the hockey stick. We're on a fast climb because people are kind of sick of it's $2 more a month for this, $2 more a month for that. Yeah.
Well, I think you also have a lot of people that maybe like you and I had a lot of self-hosted stuff many years ago, went over to services as time went on for the sake of convenience, and now are going back to self-hosting. I have a lot of friends that are doing that right now. You know, IT professionals that used to do a lot more 10, 15 years ago, put everything on services because we were so busy with work, and now everyone's bringing everything back in house. Not only is it fun, but you've got the privacy concerns that you're eliminating a lot of issues with.
The fact that we can self-host LLMs is amazing too, by the way.
The fact that they built a machine for like $100
because I have to jump on the next stream. I just looked at the time.
Oh, well, you know, jump on the next stream, and how about I join you next week and we do a little bit of LLM talks, because that's not something that comes up on the channel too much.
Absolutely.
And we got gear, so let's have fun with it.
Absolutely. So we'll end this one here. Thank you all for joining. And by the way, Lawrence.video/Raid or just go look at Raid Owl's channel. We're going live in
5 minutes.
5 minutes. So I'm gonna go fill my water up and go live on the next channel. Keep this conversation going. So join us there, Lawrence.video/Raid or just go to Raid Owl. Look him up. He's easy to find. He's got a unique enough name. All right, I'm gonna bounce later.
Have a good one, folks.